All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thanks for taking your time to be here. Today, we're going to be talking about what you need to pay attention to as far as maintaining your muscle and your metabolism if you're going to be starting a GLP-1 anytime in the near future. We're also going to be talking about somebody who wants to know they need to be getting stronger, but they're not necessarily interested in making their muscles grow bigger. So we're going to talk about what matters when it comes to those things. This is a sad day. I'm flying solo on this podcast episode. Blakely had something pop up with her eye. If you remember a couple weeks ago, she was having trouble with one of her eyes. She went to the eye doctor, got that sorted out. It felt great. And now the other one has started hurting her. So she was able to get an appointment at the last minute to go get that checked out. So that's why I'm flying solo on this episode. We'll see how I do. I'm a little nervous, if I'm being honest with you. I got water off camera over here in case I need it. Couple important announcements before we get into the questions from the day. The first thing is the Digital Barbell summer shirts are available. I'm holding up one of Blakely's shirts here for the camera. This is the women's flowy crop, I think they call it. I'm wearing the unisex athletic fit version of it. It's got the same logo on the back. I'll hold this up so you can kind of see the front logo. It's really cool. It's also available in a Comfort Colors brand like casual unisex cotton shirt, which are super cozy, super comfortable. We've done shirts through them in the past before. So the only catch with these shirts is we do them in these limited releases. It's not like we have tons of inventory back here in the stock room. They're only available order right now until July 22nd. Then the cart closes, the company that manufactures these for us, they ship them out directly to you, and then they're gone. So if you want one, you got to jump in before the 22nd and get yours. I would also recommend like getting one of each color or maybe even multiples because they're super cool. And who doesn't love having like a closet full of awesome t-shirts that they like to wear? The website to get them is a little bit long, so I'm just going to either put a QR code up here on the screen. We'll put a link to the store in the description below. But man, we would love to see you rocking these shirts on social media. If we meet you out in person, seeing all of our clients wear them, it really makes us feel good. And we priced these as low as we could to cover the costs of the shirts. It's not like this is a money-making venture for us, but we really appreciate the support. Hey, if you get one of these shirts, a great place to show it out would be at the Airstream rally in Minot, North Dakota, if you're one of our Airstream friends that found us through our RV content. I won't spend a lot of time talking about this because I know a lot of you people aren't RVers, but Blakely and I are going to be at the International Rally in August, and we're actually going to be doing a presentation on strength training on the Wednesday during the rally at 1 p.m. So if you're going to be at it, definitely come say hi and meet us. We're also going to be participating in 3 morning workouts there. We're going to be helping our friends Eric and Victoria lead these workouts. They're on Saturday morning, Monday morning, and Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. And then lastly, we'll be with a group of other content creators on Saturday at 4 p.m. and doing a meet and greet and talking about content creation. So we'd love to meet you guys if you're there. Okay, announcements are over as far as that goes. We're going to talk about these 2 questions we got through Instagram, but also wanted to say that I just wrapped up doing 30 days in a row of running a mile every day. Several days during that 30 days, I ran more than a mile, but the minimum was a mile. This actually started as a challenge that Blakely dreamed up for both of us to do, but she tweaked her back. She got sick, the thing with her eye, and she wasn't able to do all 30 days consecutively. But since she restarted, she's continuing past where I stopped after my 30 days. Actually, yesterday was day 31, and I went ahead and ran a mile anyway because I've actually really enjoyed the way that I feel, and it sure helps me get my steps up anyway. But just overall, like, it was a great challenge. And the thing that I learned most about it was, even though in the past I've dreaded running, like I actually came to look forward to doing my mile every day. I didn't look at it as like something I had to do. I looked at it as something that I got to do. My joints feel really good. I definitely feel that my cardiovascular endurance got a lot better. Running a mile isn't a hard thing for me to do at all anymore. And I did a mile time trial test on day 30 to see how fast I could run all out on a mile. And I came very close to tying my all-time PR, which was, I think, 2 years ago. I think I was about 5-10 seconds off of my all-time PR. And it's definitely, I didn't test my like time trial at the beginning of the 30 days, but I guarantee it was faster now than it was before the 30 days. So if that's something that you're interested in jumping in on, or not jumping in on, but doing on your own, highly recommend setting a goal like that for yourself. Doesn't have to be a mile, just something that you can do consistently, and just build up a little confidence that you can go out and do something hard. That's really one of the main benefits of doing something like that. Speaking of doing something hard, we gave away we announced the winners of our digital barbell step challenge. And man, our client Heidi hit over 500,000 steps in a month. She won for most total number of steps. And then we had 14 people who hit 70,000 steps per week, every week for 4 weeks. That's an average of 10,000 steps per day. And we did a drawing, and Audrey won that one. So if you're a client or you just want to jump in on the next challenge, keep your ears open. We're already dreaming up the next one, and we're thinking about doing a cash prize for this next challenge. And it's probably going to involve steps again, because we know how much you guys like that, because we saw how many people participated in it. And it's good for us too. Keeps us motivated to get our steps in also. Okay, like I said, these questions came in from people on Instagram. If you don't already follow us on Instagram, jump on over there, because sometimes we do put up a question box, or you can always just reach out through a direct message and ask us whatever you want. Okay, the question was, I'm starting a GLP-1 next week. What do I need to know and do to maintain my muscle and metabolism while I lose weight? Obviously, this person has kind of seen the experience of other people who have lost a significant amount of weight quickly on GLP-1s and have lost a significant amount of muscle and strength, and therefore seen a decline in their metabolism because of that. And they don't want that for them. So good for you. Actually, probably about 3 years ago, we worked with a doctor that was prescribing GLP-1s, and she was a very health-oriented doctor, and she wanted to make sure she was setting her clients up for success as far as what we're going to talk about here. And in working with her, we developed this thing that we titled the Weight Loss Success Guide, which was basically everything you need to know about maintaining your muscle strength and metabolism on a GLP-1. And we're no longer working with that doctor, but we have this amazing resource that's just sitting there. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll put a link to where you can download that in the show notes for this episode. If it's not a download, I'll just put the direct link to it. Okay, so I just want to remind everybody that the way that these GLP-1 medications make you so successful at losing weight is they put a real big halt on your appetite. And anytime you don't have an appetite to eat, it's going to cause you to consume fewer calories than you normally do. And that's going to put you into a calorie deficit, and your body is going to then burn your existing body fat for energy. It's just a tool to decrease your appetite. And truth be told, these medications are really, really good at what they do. I've heard of it, people just not having a desire to eat at all. And that leads to very low calorie consumption, very fast weight loss. And anytime we're in a really low calorie environment and creating rapid weight loss, we're always going to skew more of our weight loss towards lean mass instead of just fat mass. A reminder that anytime you lose weight, you're going to lose some muscle, aka lean mass, and you're going to lose some body fat. But when you're doing it rapidly with an extreme calorie deficit, more of those pounds that you lose are going to be skewed towards muscle, because you're literally not putting in the amino acids that you need to maintain the muscle that you have, and your body's going to get them from somewhere. So it's going to attack your existing muscle. I don't say that to scare you. I'm just saying that there are things we can do about it, but left unchecked, you lose more lean mass, you're tanking your metabolism. And also, I don't think that's the look that most people are going for when they take a weight loss drug. We talk a lot about the difference between body weight and body composition. People might think that they want to lose weight. Yes, I think they do probably want to lose weight, but in the back of their mind, they also want to improve their body composition. They want to like what they look like in the mirror. They want to have some visible muscle definition. They don't want to look like just a looser, flabbier version of themselves. They want to maintain some sort of aesthetic in addition to losing some pounds. And we can do that even when we're in a drastic calorie deficit, as often happens with these GLP-1s, by doing a few major things. So the first thing we need to do is probably what you would expect I'm going to tell you to do. You need to prioritize protein with the calories that you do eat, or you're willing to eat, I should say. If you are somebody who's taking these and your appetite really is suppressed, like you have no desire to eat, as far as protein goes, you're probably going to have to rely more on getting a lot of your protein calories from liquid calories because they're not going to be as filling, which is kind of funny because we typically for fat loss skew people away from liquid calories because they're not filling. But if you have no appetite, it's okay. So I'm talking about protein shakes here, whether you mix a whey or veggie-based protein powder with water or milk or almond milk or whatever, or if you buy ready-to-drink protein shakes like Premier or Muscle Milk or Fairlife or whatever. Getting in the habit of having those as a breakfast at least to get the day started with some protein, and then having at least one as a snack somewhere throughout the day, just to provide your body with some of those amino acids that I talked about earlier, so you're less likely for your body to cannibalize your existing muscle for energy. As far as how much protein to aim for in the day, I mean, it doesn't really fall outside the guidelines of what we would tell one of our nutrition coaching clients, regardless of whether they're on a GLP-1 or not. We want to be aiming for somewhere in that 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per day per pound that you weigh. And try to spread that protein out over the course of the day if possible. We do have a specific protein and calorie calculator. It's not specific to GLP-1s, but if I remember, I'll put a link to that in the description below too. And then the other half of the equation, besides what's going on with your nutrition, is we got to give your muscles a reason to stick around. And the most efficient way to do that is through resistance training. I think a lot of people think like if they just start eating more protein, and this is outside the context of just weight loss, but if they just start eating more protein, they're going to build more muscle. But it doesn't work that way. You have to eat the protein, but you got to send the signal to your muscles like, hey, I need you to stick around and I need you to grow if at all possible also. And the way we do that is by pushing against an external resistance with them, causing them to fatigue, telling them that they have to work hard, and we do that by lifting weights. And more specifically, we try to do that in a way that gradually gets more difficult over time, otherwise known as progressive overload. So we're eating enough protein, we're doing resistance training, and even as little as 1 to 3 times per week in a weight loss phase, especially a drastic one, is probably enough to maintain the muscle that you have and keep your body composition at least from declining as you lose weight, as your appetite is super depressed. I think a simple place to start, if this person didn't say what they're doing now for exercise or training, but just a basic resistance training program that hits all the major muscle groups across the course of the week, preferably twice per week, is all you need. Our Strength Made Simple beginner strength training program is a great example of that. It's not open to join right now, but we do have a free week of it that you can try. It'll at least give you some structure. And hey, you can repeat that week over and over again if you need to. So I'll put a link to download that also. Y'all better get ready for all these downloads, and I better remember to put them all in here. Okay, moving on to the next question is, I know I need to be strength training, but I don't necessarily want my muscles to get bigger. Is there anything I need to do differently with my workouts and diet? This was from a female that asked this question, and she didn't say exactly what her workouts and diet are now, but there's still some knowledge to be had here that I can throw in. I actually wrote a really long article about this that Google actually loves. We get a lot of views on this article. I think I titled it like "How to Get Strong and Lean Without Getting Big and Bulky." SEO really liked that title, but let's talk about some of the main things here, because I think it's pretty common. I mean, people want to be strong. They know the benefits of strength training. It's on Today's Show every morning. It's on the news talking about the improvements not only to your physical abilities, but to your mental health from strength training and insulin resistance and all that good stuff. But people don't want to be walking around looking like bodybuilders. If only they knew how hard it was. I've been trying to look like a bodybuilder for the better part of 10 years, and here's where we're at. But anyway, the truth is that there is an overlap between muscular size and strength. Typically speaking, a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. Now that's not like a hard and fast rule where if you just looked at two people and one had bigger muscles that they would necessarily be stronger than the other person. There's of course a huge genetic component to that also, but there's actually different ways that you can structure your training to be able to bias your results towards either gaining strength or gaining muscular size. So if you were to compare a power lifter's training program, which is a sport based on strength. The competition is to lift as much weight as possible in the competition on a certain day, versus a bodybuilder's training program who is to look a certain way on stage, all sprayed with grease, oil, and tanning solution in their bikini on a certain day. They have to train a different way because there's an aesthetic-based result versus somebody who's just being judged on how much weight they can lift. There's a difference in their training. So what are the factors that affect the two different kinds of results? Well, the total amount of volume you do in a workout week, in a workout month, and even over the bigger picture, the total number of volume, I'm talking about sets, reps, weight lifted, all that stuff, is one of the main factors in making a muscle grow bigger. If you see two people and one has a lot bigger muscles than the other, they're probably doing a lot more sets in their workouts, and or they've probably been doing it a lot longer. And if you think about it, you do it a lot longer, you're accruing more volume also. You can continue to grow. You do hit plateaus along the way, but that's not the point of this question here. So what we want to do for somebody who wants to bias their training towards strength and not size is to take that volume thing into consideration. Now, I use the example of the power lifter who's being judged on how much weight they can lift. I realize that that's not our demographic, so this advice is not for how to become a power lifter. This advice is just based on, like, I just want to be strong without biasing my training towards getting big. So the way that strength is built most efficiently is by training with heavy loads for you in a rep range that is a lower rep range that doesn't make you accrue a lot of cellular fatigue in the muscle. That is one of the main things that makes muscles grow big. So I'm talking about doing heavier compound lifts. These are the lifts like squats, bench presses, overhead presses, rows, that use multiple joints at the same time with loads that are challenging for you in the 3 to 6 rep range. And when I say challenging for you, I mean, like, by the time you get to the end of the set, that's about all you could do. If you had to do one more, you probably could, but it's not the same thing as like picking up a light pair of dumbbells, and being able to do a set of 20 with them before you start to fatigue. That's higher rep training, aka more volume. That's more biased to muscle hypertrophy than just muscular strength gains. Sorry, I got distracted because the garbage man pulled up and I was afraid the dogs were going to start barking. Okay, so we know we want to build the majority of our training program around these compound lifts. The reason that's so great for building muscular strength overall and size is because we're using multiple muscles all at the same time. Like, the strength that you build in your deadlift is going to help strengthen your glutes, your hamstrings, your adductors, all the muscles of the posterior chain of your back, your forearms. And it's going to do that in a way that doesn't make them get bigger, because we're really just creating stress on them in these lower rep ranges. Somebody who does 3 sets of 5 deadlifts is going to build more strength than somebody who goes to the machine side of the gym and does an isolation exercise for every one of those muscles that is involved in the deadlift, and they do 3 sets of each. They do 3 sets per muscle group. Then it will accrue a lot more volume. So we want to get a lot more bang for the buck with less volume. That's kind of the overarching theme of building strength versus size. Lower volume compound lifts that hit more muscles all at once. That doesn't mean that you can't do accessory exercises like bicep curls, triceps. I think most people that don't do those things never get the aesthetic look that they want. Even if their main goal is just building strength, they leave those things out, or they don't know the right exercises to do. So we want to keep those things in because we really want the best of both worlds. That's like the foundation of our whole approach to training here. We want to be able to go out and run that 6.5 minute mile, but we also want to be able to lift heavy weights and not hurt and feel capable and all that stuff. So I would recommend keeping the accessory lifts like bicep curls and calf raises and those things in your training program, but we need to keep an eye on the total volume. Your training program should be looked at as like, how many times am I hitting this muscle group with a hard set over the course of the week? And if you're worried about getting bigger, let's try to keep those number of hard sets per muscle group closer to the 10 sets per week range than the 15 to 20 sets per week range that are more likely to cause more muscular hypertrophy. Now, the great thing about strength training and all this stuff that we're talking about is none of this is like anything that happens quickly. Meaning, like, if you accidentally did 20 hard sets for your shoulders that you really didn't want to get that big, even for like 3 weeks in a row, you're not going to wake up one morning and look at your arms and be like, oh my gosh, my shoulders turned into these gargantuan things. What in the world happened? First of all, even if they did, that's not a permanently irreversible situation. And second of all, it doesn't work like that. Muscle grows incredibly slowly. So there's no chance you're just going to wake up one day and not like what you look. I'd rather you be more consistent and do too much and then back off over time if you need to, than just be overly worried about this and never do enough to start with in the first place. Okay, and then there's a huge other side of the equation here, and they brought it up too when they said do differently with my workouts and my diet, and that's the nutrition side of things. We talked about being in a calorie deficit in the last question. It's very unlikely that you're going to grow any noticeable amount of muscle in a calorie deficit unless you're a complete newbie and this is the first time you've ever done any kind of resistance training. Most people need to be eating at or slightly above their maintenance calories to be able to, have the extra energy on board to build new muscle tissue. So for somebody who's interested in building strength and not necessarily size, I would say just continue to eat about the same way that you have been, assuming your weight has been staying about relatively stable. That would be your maintenance calories, and just see how your strength progresses. If you're not actually being able to add weight to the bar or increase the weight of your dumbbells over the course of a month, we might need to slightly increase your calories just to give your body more recovery resources to be able to create the strength changes that we're trying to get. And if you come from somebody who's like, or you are somebody who's always been in like the dieting, restricting mindset, and you're thinking like, well, I need to get stronger, you're probably gonna have to reframe your mindset around being on this perma diet for your entire life and start thinking about using your nutrition to fuel your performance, because that's really the only way you're going to actually be able to work hard in your workouts and then behind the scenes give your body what it needs to be able to grow stronger and grow new muscle tissue. And with that, I will say you might want to reframe your expectations about what should be happening to your body weight as you continue to get stronger. Even if you're not trying to grow bigger muscles, your muscles are going to get a little bit bigger. Even if it's not like a visual largeness that you can see, the cross-sectional density of the muscles is going to get thicker as you get stronger. And with that new muscle tissue may come an increase on the scale. Now, that goes back to the conversation of body weight versus body composition. If you're so fixated on not seeing the scale go up a pound or two that you want to pull back off the trigger, you're ignoring the fact that you might actually be liking what you see in the mirror better versus just like looking down at your feet and being like, oh, no, I'm not somebody who weighs X number of pounds. That's not me. I've been this other weight for my entire life. Well, maybe that mindset has actually held you back from achieving the physique that you want. And the actual physique that you want is only going to be obtained at a slightly higher body weight than you've previously accepted for yourself. So this could probably be an entire podcast on its own, but long story short, you might need to weigh more to look the way you want to look, and you might need to weigh more to get as strong as you want to get. And I'm still not talking about becoming a giant bodybuilder or power lifter. All right, that's all I got for you today. I'm not used to talking this much on my own, so of course my voice is already fried. Reminder to grab one of these shirts before they're gone. They won't be available again. July 22nd is the last chance to get them. I'll put a link for the store to get them in the description below. Come say hi to us in North Dakota if you just happen to be there or you're passing through. And check in on Blakely and see how her eye's doing too. She'd appreciate that. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want to get a question answered on a future episode, just send us a message on Instagram or drop a question in the comment box that we put up there from time to time. Have a good rest of your day.